So I'm going to just go through the review for our 9 weeks test and walk through how to do each problem so you guys will be prepared for your exam on Wednesday. So the first question says the graph of part of a linear function g is shown on the grid. Okay, so first off it asks us, is this discrete or continuous? Remember that discrete is only dots, and if it is continuous, those dots are connected. Okay, I'm just going to abbreviate that, but they are connected. So as you can see, these two dots are connected, which would mean that these are continuous. And then it asks us for the domain and range. So we remember domain and range using Dr. XY loves biology. Okay, so we know that domain is X values, and we read those X values from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to find the domain by looking at my graph from left to right. The very leftmost point that I have on this graph is at 1. And then I'm always going to use the less than in my compound inequalities. This is an open circle, so I'm just going to put the less than. I'm going to come over here to this closed circle, so that will be a less than or equal to. And then my last is 5, right? 1 is less than x is less than or equal to 5. For my range, I'm going to be doing the y values, and those are going to be bottom to top. So I need to look over here at the y-axis. My very bottom number is -2. That is a filled in circle, so I have less than or equal to y is less than, up here, open circle, 4. Okay, now let's move on to number 2. The daily paycheck of an Amazon truck driver Y, so his paycheck is the Y value, for delivering X packages, so X is the number of packages, is a linear function. He is paid a daily rate of $30 and an additional $3 for every package. Remember, every is a slope word. So we're going to go ahead and write that equation, which would be Y equals, so his paycheck equals his daily rate, which is 30, plus 3 times X, which is the number of packages he delivers. Okay, he can deliver a maximum of 20 packages per day. For 1 day of work, state the domain and range of this function. Okay, so this would technically be a discrete situation because he can't deliver a half of a package or a fourth of a package. But due to the similarity of the test question you're going to see on Wednesday, I'm going to treat this like it's continuous. Okay, so what we would say is, same thing, Dr. XY loves biology. Okay, so for the domain, I'm looking at the X values, and they told us that the X values is the number of packages. So if he goes to work and he delivers no packages, maybe the weather is bad, maybe his truck gets a flat tire, he is still going to get paid $30. So the domain is going to be between 0 and $30. Okay? Excuse me, it's going to be between 0 and 20 because those are the number of packages that he's going to deliver. So he could deliver no packages and he could deliver 20 because it says he has a maximum of 20. For the range, we're going to be looking at his pay because his pay is the Y value. So if he goes to work, he automatically gets paid $30. So the lowest that he could make would be $30. And then we're going to go up to, okay, see what the maximum he could make is, okay? Remember, the maximum amount of package he could deliver is 20. So if we plug 20, 30 plus 3 times 20 to find out what that maximum value is, 3 times 20 is 60, right? And 60 plus 30 would be $90. Okay, so he can make between $30 and $90 per day depending on how many packages that he delivers. Okay, the value of Y varies directly with X. Remember, when we do direct variation, we are always going to put the Y value on top of the X. It says if X is 7, so let's go ahead and fill in our 7, then Y is 21. Okay, what is the value of X when Y equals 20, or when Y equals 84? Okay, so we are going to cross multiply and then divide, right? So in order to cross multiply, we are going to use what you might have been taught in earlier grades. It's called the butterfly method. Okay, and we're going to do 7 times 84 equals 21 times x. Okay, so 7 times 84 is 588. And 21 times x is going to be 21x. In order to solve and get x by itself, we will need to divide both sides by 21. Okay, 588 divided by 21 equals 28. So here we know that x equals 28. All right. Number 4 says the total of distance in miles that a triathlete runs varies directly with the time in seconds. And this should say the time in minutes. That is a typo. Sorry for that mistake. Okay. The athlete runs 5 miles in 33 minutes. How long would it take the athlete to run 20 miles, right? So it's telling us that miles vary directly with minutes. Okay, if he runs 5 miles in 33 minutes, okay, how long would it take him to run 20 miles? Okay, and remember, we need to make sure that these labels match up. So 5 is miles, 20 is miles, 33 is minutes, and then we are also solving for minutes. And we know because they asked us how long is it going to take him. Okay, so same thing, we're going to cross multiply. 33 times 20 is 660, and 5 times x is 5x. Okay, in order to solve, I'll divide both sides by 5, and I will end up with 132 minutes as my final answer there. Okay, here it says, what is the equation of the line that passes through the point -712 and has a slope of 0? Okay, if you have a question that asks you about a slope that's undefined or a slope of 0, it's a good idea to just go ahead and draw your slope guy who has a positive slope there, negative slope there. His nose is undefined with his little X nose ring. His mouth is 0 with his little Y tongue sticking out, right? And so that is our slope guy. Okay, so if you look, you can tell that his mouth is going to be the 0 slope. So we are looking for a line that is going to be horizontal. Okay, our line is going to be horizontal because the slope is 0. All right, so since it's horizontal, we know that the equation is going to be y equals a number. Well, if the y equals a number, it has to be the y value from the point. All right, so this is the point x, and this is the y value. So we know that every point on that line is going to have the same y value of 12. Okay, if you were to look at that on a graph, okay, that would be a horizontal line. That would be 12, right? This right here would be 0, 12. Over here, we would have 7, 12. And then just like our problem asked us over here, we would have negative 7, 12. Every single y value on the entire line would be 12. So our answer would be y equals 12. On this side, it asks us, what is the slope of the graph of y equals 3x minus 9? Okay, so this equation is already in the y equals mx plus b format, the slope-intercept format. And so all we need to do is identify the m, because the m represents the slope. Okay, so here we have y equals 3x minus 9. So y equals mx plus b. We can tell, okay, our m is going to be 3. So that will be our slope for that equation. On the back of the paper, it asks, what is the slope of the line that passes through the points 6, negative 10, and negative 10, 12, okay? So the formula to find slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, and then we're going to go ahead and label these points that they gave us. On the first point, we will have our x1 and our y1. On our second point, we will have our x2 and our y2, right? And then we will go ahead and put it into our calculator or into our problem, okay? So the y2 is going to be 12. So we have 12 minus, and then our y1 is negative 10, okay? Make sure you are having the minus and the negative. You need both of those to get the correct answer. This minus comes from the formula, right? We have a minus in our formula. This negative comes from the problem. So we need to include both of those in order to get the correct answer, right? On the bottom, we have x2, which is negative 10, minus, okay, x1, which is 6, okay? So we are going to go ahead and put that in our calculator. If you're using Desmos on the internet, I told you about how the negative and the minus are the same. If you're using your Inspire in class, you'll push Control Divide, okay? And then you'll go ahead and put those values in there. 12 minus negative 10 over negative 10 minus 6. And your calculator will give you your final answer, which is 11 over 8. Okay, so here our slope is negative 11 divided by 8. Make sure you're using your calculator, either Desmos or if you're in class, the Inspire. Okay. This one says, what is the slope of the line that is represented by 6x minus 10y equals 20? So this one is not in slope-intercept form. This one is in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So we need to convert it into slope-intercept, the y equals mx plus b. Then the way we're going to do that is we are going to take this equation and we are going to get y by itself. Okay, so we are going to subtract 6x from both sides first. That's going to be the first step of getting y by itself. 6x minus 6x is 0, and I'm left with negative 10y on the left side. 6x and 20 are not like terms, so I have to make sure I keep both of those in my next step. So I end up with negative 6x plus 20. Okay, now the other step is to divide. Okay, divide by negative 10, and then I have to divide every single term by negative 10. All right, so negative 10 divided by negative 10, that is going to be positive 1y. You can put the 1 as the coefficient if that helps you. Okay, 1y equals, and then these I'm going to go ahead and solve in my calculator. Okay, your calculator will simplify these fractions for you, whether in Desmos or in your Inspire. Either way, you can do negative 6 divided by negative 10, and that will give us our simplified slope, which is 3/5. And then we can do the same thing. 20 divided by negative 10 is going to be negative 2. Okay, so we have 3/5 x minus 2. But that's not our final answer because they asked us the slope, remember? So we are going to look at the equation, which was y equals mx plus b, and identify that the m in this equation is 3/5. So that is going to be our final answer. All right. This one over here says which value of x makes the equation true. So basically it's saying solve, okay? They want you to solve. And if you remember back when we did our very first unit, the way we would solve, the steps were don't call me after midnight. Don't call me after midnight. Okay, so the first step would be to distribute. When we distribute, we would need to distribute this 0.6 inside both of these parentheses and this 0.4 inside both of these parentheses. So that would give us 0.6 times 10x is 6x. 0.6 times 15 is going to be 9 equals 0.4 times 5 is 2x. And then 0.4 times 10 is going to be 4. Now, so we did our distribution, and then we looked to see if we need to combine like terms. There are no like terms on the same side of the equal sign in this problem, so we can skip that step. Now we're going to move all of our variables over to the left. The way I move a positive 2x is I will go ahead and subtract that 2x, minus 2x, minus 2x. Over here, this is going to end up being 0. 6x minus 2x is 4x. I still have my plus 9, and I still have my 4 over there at the back. Now I need to move all the constants over to the right side. So I have this minus 9. I need to move that. So I will subtract 9, right? This will not be there anymore. That's going to be 0. And I end up with 4x equals negative 5. Okay, my last step, I'm just going to bring this up here to continue to solve. 4x equals negative 5. My last step is going to be to divide both sides by 4. Okay, it's a good idea when you're dealing with fractions to make sure that the fraction is completely simplified. A great way to do that is plugging it into your calculator. So negative 5 divided by 4 does not simplify, but it's still a good idea for us to check that every time. So here we have x equals negative 5 over 4. Another possible answer could be negative 1.25, just depending on what your answer choices are. Okay, both of these answers are correct. Okay, another important calculator trick. Okay, this is going to be very important if you're using your Inspire. You'll go to your calculate screen and you'll press menu and then go down to number 3 for algebra. And then you'll hit number 1 for numerical solve, and then you can go ahead and solve that equation in your calculator. All you have to do is type in exactly the equation as you see it, 0.6 times 10x plus 15 equals 0.4 times 5x plus 10. And then the only other thing that's important about insolve is you need to put the comma x at the back, okay? And just like we said, we got negative 1.25, okay? You have to put the comma x at the back in order to get the correct answer, okay? The next one says, what is the solution set for this inequality? The inequalities have the exact same steps. Don't call me after midnight in order to solve them, okay? So I need to move this 4x to the other side. I do the inverse operation, so I would say minus 4x, negative 6x minus 4x is negative 10x, plus 12 is greater than or equal to 22. Now I need to move all the constants. I didn't need to distribute. I didn't need to combine like terms. I moved all my variables. So I need to add or subtract, right? So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. That cancels over here on the left, and I'm left with negative 10x is greater than or equal to 22 minus 12 is 10. Okay, so I will go ahead and divide both sides by negative 10 in order to get my final answer. Don't forget, when you are working with inequalities and you divide by a negative, you are going to have to flip your symbol, okay? Flip your symbol. X is less than or equal to negative 1, okay? Negative 1. If you divide by a negative, you must flip the symbol. Okay, you must flip the symbol. Okay, this one says to simplify. Whenever we are simplifying, all you have to do is combine like terms and, distribute and combine like terms. There is no distribution to be done here because there's no numbers outside the parentheses. If this was a minus, then we would need to distribute the negative 1. But since it's a plus, that's the same as multiplying everything by a positive 1, which does not change the value at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this 13 plus 5p minus p squared minus 6p squared minus 15 plus 5p. Okay, I'm just rewrote it with no parentheses. And now, since I don't have any distribution, I need to combine the like terms. Okay, all of the squareds are going to be like terms. All right, all of the regular p's are going to be like terms. And then all of my constants are also going to be like terms. So you'll just use those to combine, right? Negative p minus 6p is negative 7p squared. Negative p squared minus 6p squared, excuse me. Okay? And then we have 5p plus 5p, which would be 10p. And then we have 13 minus 15, which is going to be negative 2. So we'll put a minus 2. And then that is completely simplified. There's no other simplification that can take place. Okay? Next, it says simplify the following expression. Same thing. We have to distribute and then combine like terms. We do have to distribute here. We're going to have to distribute that negative 6x times 2x. Okay? And when we have an x, and we just have to break it into two parts. Okay? We have negative 6 times 2, which is negative 12. And then we have our x times x, which is x squared. Okay? Then we have our negative 6 times negative 8, which is going to be positive 48. And then we have our x at the back that we're going to add on to that. Okay? Make sure that you are being careful with your exponents. Okay, make sure you're being careful with your exponents. We distributed, and then we did not have any like terms we needed to combine because a squared and a normal x cannot be combined. Okay, last two problems. It says given h of t equals 2/3 12 minus t squared, what is the value of h of 9? Okay, so don't forget when we have a number like this in parentheses, that means we come over here, we take our original problem, h of t equals 2/3 times 12 minus t squared. In every place that we had a t, we're going to put a 9 in parentheses. So now we have h of 9 equals 2/3 times 12 minus 9 squared. Okay, and then we are going to put everything after the equal sign into our calculator. It's very important that you don't put that h of 9 into your calculator. You just put the things that are after. Okay, so we're going to come over here with our calculator and go ahead and type that in. Okay, all right, so we have control divide. Oops. 2/3 parentheses 12 minus parentheses 9 squared, like that. Okay, and we get negative 46, and that is our answer. Okay, h of 9 equals negative 46. Okay, the next says solve the following equation for y. Right, so it's in standard form, and we need to get y by itself. The first thing that we're going to have to do is move this positive 2x. The opposite of positive 2x is going to be minus 2x or negative. So negative 2x, okay? That is going to cancel on the left side. 2x minus 2x is 0. And I'm left with a negative 8y, okay? Don't forget, if there's a minus in between your x and y, you have to drop that down with the y. And now these are not like terms, so I can't combine them. I have to bring both of them down, negative 2x plus 16, and then my final step is going to divide everything by negative 8. Okay, negative 8y divided by negative 8 is positive 1y, which is perfect. That's what I was trying to get, positive 1y. This negative 2 over negative 8 is going to be able to be simplified, so I'm going to go ahead and type that in my calculator. Negative 2 over negative 8, and I get positive 1/4. So I'll have 1/4 x, and then 16 divided by negative 8 is going to be negative 2. So this will be my simplified equation with y by itself.